As one of the most notorious biker gangs in history, the Hells Angels have a reputation that precedes them. Since its formation, the group is linked to countless acts of violence, drug trafficking, and organized crime. At the center of it all is their iconic leader, Sonny Barger, a man who spends his life pushing the boundaries of what society deems acceptable. From their early days causing chaos on the streets to their infamous role in the Altamont Speedway tragedy, Barger and his Hells Angels are at the forefront of some of the most shocking and brutal events of the 20th century. This is the story of a man who lives by his own rules and leaves a legacy of violence and destruction in his wake. Ralph Hubert Barger Jr., aka Sonny Barger, is a man who defies all odds to become one of the most notorious and celebrated figures in the world of outlaw biker gangs. Born in Modesto, California, on October 8, 1938, Sonny Barger's life starts off on the wrong foot. His mother runs off with a Trailways bus driver when he is just 4 months old, leaving his father to raise him alone. But his father is no role model either, a day laborer who spends his nights and most of his money at waterfront bars, often bringing young Sonny along for the ride. It is in those bars where Sonny learns some of his first lessons in life, and it isn't long before he becomes a master of the art of survival. According to his autobiography, he filches pretzels and hard-boiled eggs and learns his first cuss words from an obscenity-squawking parrot. But that is just the beginning of his wild ride. As he grows older, Sonny becomes more and more disillusioned with the straight life. He rejects school, gets into trouble with his teachers, and drops out at 16. He joins the army with a forged birth certificate, but that doesn't last long. He is kicked out just 14 months later when his deception is discovered. Back home, he struggles to find his place in the world, drifting from job to job, never able to hold down a steady 9 to 5. But then things change for Barger as he finds his true calling in life. In 1956, Barger co-founded his first motorcycle club, the Oakland Panthers, with a band of fellow military veterans. But after the club disbands, he finds himself drawn to another group of bikers, which includes a man named Don Boots Reeves, who wears a patch belonging to a defunct Nomads chapter of the Hells Angels. And so, in 1957, Barger and his crew found their own Hells Angels chapter, donning the infamous Death's Head logo, a skull wearing an aviator cap within a set of wings. Though he isn't the club's founder, Barger quickly rises through the ranks to become its best-known and most feared member. And as president of the Oakland chapter, he travels across California, forging alliances and dividing territory with other Hells Angels chapters. But with power comes corruption. By 1960, the Oakland Hells Angels have established a massive narcotics network, becoming one of the most dangerous drug-dealing organizations in the country, and Barger is right at the center of it all. Despite the club's brutal infighting and conflicts with other motorcycle gangs like the Gypsy Jokers, Barger is an unstoppable force, consolidating power and building an empire of violence and vice. As he expands the Hells Angels' reach, he becomes a symbol of everything that is wrong with the criminal underworld. In the early 1960s, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club grows in both size and notoriety, becoming one of the most feared outlaw biker gangs in the United States. Along with their infamous reputation comes an increasing number of run-ins with the law, and Sonny Barger, as the de facto leader of the club, finds himself at the center of many of these legal battles. The Hells Angels' reputation for violence and aggression comes to a head in 1969, when they are hired to provide security at a free concert organized by the Rolling Stones at the Altamont Speedway in California. The event turns chaotic, with fights breaking out among the concert-goers, and the Hells Angels themselves becoming involved in the violence. The situation escalates when 18-year-old Meredith Hunter is fatally stabbed by a Hells Angel after aiming a firearm towards the stage. Although Sonny Barger is present at the Altamont concert, he isn't involved in the stabbing and isn't charged in connection with the incident. However, the event and the Hells Angels' involvement cast a dark shadow over the club, contributing to their already notorious reputation. Barger's legal troubles continue into the 1970s, and he is eventually sentenced to 4 years in prison for possession of 37 grams of heroin and possession of an illegal firearm. His time behind bars marks a turning point for the Hells Angels, and it is during this period that the federal government begins to take a more aggressive stance against outlaw biker gangs, targeting them with increased law enforcement efforts and prosecutions. Still, Sonny is unapologetic, living life on his own terms and blazing a trail that few others can follow. He publishes several books, including the best-selling autobiography that gives readers a glimpse into the mind of a true rebel. In 1982, he is diagnosed with throat cancer, the result of smoking 3 packs of Camels a day for decades. He has his vocal cords removed, but even that can't stop him from living life to the fullest. He continues to ride the open road, eventually professing a preference for high-powered Hondas and BMWs over the Angel's traditional Harley choppers. Through it all, Sonny Barger never loses his edge. He remains a rebel to the end, defying authority and pushing the limits of what is possible. His nonconformist life teaches him some valuable lessons, like how to become a real man by joining the army and doing time in jail, and his legacy lives on to this day. This is the story of Sonny Barger, the original outlaw biker.